Hi everybody, this is Boogass Reviews, and today I'm going to be doing a review on the NECA TMNT Universal Monsters Splinter as Van Helsing figure. So before we take a look at Splinter, let's take a look at all of the accessories that he comes with. So first up, Splinter comes with this small circle stand, and honestly I don't like the way that it makes him stand. He does have a bendy wire tail that I've been leaning him on, and he stands just fine like that. As you can see, this right foot does not want to go into the peg. The peg hole is too small, so it kind of offsets mine. Now, honestly, the left one doesn't fit that great either. So yeah, I don't really know why he came with this stand when he has the bendy wire tail, because you can just lean him against that. Up next, he comes with a set of open hands, and all of these hands have this really weird collar on them. It looks like dirt or something. I don't know. I can't tell if it's supposed to be on there or not, because it's just about the same color as his claws. But yeah, all of his hands look really dirty because you get that collar in between the fingers. Yeah, I'm not fond of how that looks. Up next, he comes with this set of hands, and I'm not quite sure exactly what these hands are for. They can hold his accessories, but they kind of look funny. Up next, he comes with accessory holding hands, and you can see that wash really bad on these. That collar in between his fingers just looks terrible. Up next, he comes with this knife. Doesn't look too bad. You can fit it on one of the loops here on the strap around his shoulder. You can just put it in like that, and it stays very securely. Up next, he comes with 3 different stakes, and I like the way these are painted, how it fades into that color from where the ends have been whittled down to a point. That looks really good. The only bad thing is these hands are way too big to hold these. They just slip out of his hands like crazy. Up next, he comes with his crossbow, and this looks really nice. The one weird thing is there's holes on the handle, though, on this one and this one, and I'm not sure what they're there for. It almost looks like there was going to be a piece of string tied from this to this, but there's nothing that came with this figure to put there. Up next, he comes with 4 different arrows, and you can actually load them into the crossbow. The regular arrows stay the best. There's 3 of the regular arrows. Up next, there's this arrow. I'm not sure what this is supposed to be. It almost looks like a grapnel hook. It kind of also looks like a batarang arrow too. His final arrow is the garlic arrow, and I love the way this one looks. I wish this one would have been a little bit longer, that way it would have fit back here properly. It doesn't quite fit properly, but I still think that looks very, very awesome. You can also put the arrows in his quiver, but there is a bunch of room for them to get loose. So yeah, if you put these in here, they're definitely going to fall out. I actually lost these a couple times. And finally, he comes with his hat-off head sculpt, and this looks very nice. All the sculpt detail and paint detail to Splinter's fur looks really good, and his glasses are glued on. These feel really fragile, so when you're switching the heads out, definitely be careful, because I feel like if you put too much pressure on these could snap easily. So now let's take a look at the main head sculpt. This is the head sculpt I prefer to leave on Splinter. The hat looks very nice. It has some slight texturing to it. That looks really good. Like I said, the sculpt and paint detail on both of Splinter's head sculpts look very nice. That looks really good. One thing, as you can see, these already fell out, with Splinter's quiver is there's a hole in his back and this pegs in, but it drops out constantly. It's really irritating. After this video, I'll probably glue that down because I'm tired of it just moving down on him. He has some really nice sculpt detail to the fur around his jacket with a nice gray wash over top of it. The belt looks really nice. The wash that they did on the belt looks really good. The front of it has a little bit of brown paint on it. But then you can see they just went overboard on the quiver. That looks pretty bad, and you can see a bunch of excess brown paint there. That does not look the greatest. He has some really good sculpt detail to his jacket. He has some really nice texturing. Looks like leather. You can see the stitches. That looks really nice. But if you lift this up, you can see this weird patch on mine. You can see where it's normal colored and then it's like this weird gray patch. Yeah, that's really noticeable. If you have this down like this, it's not quite as noticeable, but yeah, it drives me nuts because I know it's there. He has some more good sculpt detail to his fur. The wrappings on his ankles look very nice. But once you get down here, you can see that they painted the wrappings on, and whenever you move his toes, it's going to scuff that paint up. There's almost no paint on this joint at all now. So now let's go ahead and go over his articulation. So he has a ball-jointed head that can look up very slightly. He can look down very slightly. He can move his head side to side. This head sculpt does want to pop off. If you move it too far up, it just wants to pop right off his body. He has shoulders that can move all the way out. He has double jointed elbows that can only bend in that far. As you can see, there's some stress marks on the plastic right here. It can move side to side here at the elbow and side to side here at the forearm. He has swivel thrusts that can move up and down and side to side very nicely. He has, I want to say, a ball jointed diaphragm that can move back and forth very slightly and side to side very slightly. He has hips that can only move out that far. He can only kick forward that far because of his tunic underneath. He can only kick back that far. He does have a thigh swivel. He has a single jointed knee. Swivel the ankle that can move up all the way, down all the way, and mine doesn't move side to side. It feels like it's going to break when I try to do that. You can see the plastic kind of moving right there. He has swiveled the ankle that can move up very slightly and down very slightly. So now let's do some size comparisons. So first up, here he is next to the movie version of himself. Here he is next to April O'Neil as the Bride of Frankenstein. Here he is next to Mikey as the Mummy. Here he is next to Raphael as Frankenstein. And finally, here he is next to Leonardo as the Hunchback. So overall, I was really excited for this figure, but now that I have it in hand, it's pretty disappointing. I do think he'd be at the bottom of my favorite list from this line, just because he's not as cool as the actual brothers or even April O'Neil, because they're actual monsters, and I just think the designs are really cool. But mine had a bunch of QC issues, and that's another reason I gave this, more unfavorable review. So yeah, I don't know if all of them are like this or it's just mine, but yeah, this is definitely the weakest link out of the line so far. So that's my review. If you like this review, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.